What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, and 2014 is almost over. Yes, the year is finally coming to a close, but before the year rounds out, I'm here to talk about my favorite movies from this year. Believe it or not, this list was actually pretty difficult for me to come up with, as all lists are, as they are all opinion-based, and judging from the number of movies I did put from this video's title, this also goes into how I've seen not that many movies this year, even though, to my own recollection, I've seen around 36 or so movies this year, which is a personal best record for me, and I expect to see more and more as the years go by. And that is also why I am not making a worst of the year list, because I haven't seen that many movies this year once again, and I want to end the year off on a good note. Now, even though I subsequently cheated in this video by putting more movies on this list than I wanted to, when I do mention other movies throughout this video, consider those my further honorable mentions. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy this extensive video of me talking about my top 14 favorite movies of 2014. Starting off the list at number 14 is a movie that affected me emotionally, even though I actually knew what was coming at the end of the movie. But I will say that while it is based off of a teen novel, I can say that this movie really did hit at the heartstrings. The Fault in Our Stars is another movie like this, and I feel that I also got a lot out of it, even though I haven't read that book. But as good as that movie is as well, this movie actually edged it out quite a little bit more in my opinion, and was good enough for me to put on this list. If I Stay is that kind of movie. This is also my screw the critics pick of the year, if you will, as not too many critics and audiences were too kind to this movie, and it even ended up on one critic's worst of the year list, to my surprise. Now, I have also been criticized throughout the year for liking this movie because others have said that my opinion is based on the fact that I am attached to the source material, and I actually did meet star Chloe Grace Moretz and author Gail Forman months ago. Now, I will agree with those statements to an extent, but I can also say that this movie really did affect me emotionally and had me absorbed in its world that it was based upon. The acting was spot on to its character counterparts from the novel, and the whole backdrop of a car accident and an out-of-body experience really had me invested in the story throughout. This is a heartwarming, tear-jerking, well-paced, funny at times even, and all-around faithful adaptation to a novel that I really enjoy. And for that, I thought this movie succeeded. Next up, at number 13, is a movie that proves that independent films really did make a mark this year in 2014, as Chef is one shining example of a movie in that category. Jon Favreau wrote, directed, and stars in this movie about a chef who is just wanting to make a mark of his own on the realm of cooking by starting a food truck. And that concept alone had me interested in this movie from the very moment it began. The acting from Favreau and a bunch of other stars who do pop up in this movie, such as Sofia Vergara, John Leguizamo, and even Scarlett Johansson, Robert De Niro, and Dustin Hoffman, make this movie, or should I say the ensemble, have a really good time with this flick. Food never looks so good in this movie, and it is such a feel-good movie at that. It's coming to Netflix next month, in case you all didn't know, and I highly recommend everyone go check out this movie when it does drop, or as soon as possible, right now. I really dug Chef. Coming in at number 12 is yet another independent movie, only with a musical twist this time. And I actually got to see this movie for free, but just for the fact that I got a complimentary screening of this film doesn't mean that Begin Again was a bad movie. In fact, this movie was so damn good that I've had the soundtrack on repeat on my musical playlist for months now, ever since I saw this film, as it is so good to listen to it over and over again. The acting from the cast all around, from a lovable Keira Knightley, who proves that she can sing in a movie, a lovable Mark Ruffalo, who is just so damn likable as a sloppy drunk, a cool Adam Levine, who was also just a bit of a jerk at the same time, and a whole bunch of others make this movie an entertainingly fun, feel-good movie just like Chef, and the music is at the center of this film, and it makes the movie such an endearing experience to go forward if you want to view it for yourself. I loved Begin Again. Coming in at number 11 is my favorite animated movie of 2014. And there have been a whole slew of them this year, but for me, it only came down between two of them. Yes, the standing crowns of this genre from 2014. Which one did I end up choosing? Well, as much as I do love Baymax and Company from Big Hero 6, I went with another ragtag group of animated heroes who just so happened to be a part of my favorite childhood pastime from many years ago and was in a movie like this. Who would they be? Well, they would be Emmett and Company. The Lego Movie is my favorite animated film of 2014 and takes the number 11 spot. Anyone who knows me personally knows that I love Legos. I have been building and collecting them since I was 10 years old, and believe it or not, this channel before it was dedicated for just movie reviews was actually dedicated to reviewing and animated Legos, as it was so many years ago. But anyway, back to the Lego Movie. This is actually the only movie this year on this list that I haven't done a formal review for, which is odd considering that I have recently rewatched this movie on Blu-ray and actually picked it up for $4 on Black Friday. What a steal. But that does not detract on what I thought of this movie, and I just absolutely loved it. The colorful animation, the astounding effects that are used throughout with 3D makes this movie just an enthralling and awe-inspiring experience that everyone needs to go for themselves. The voice acting from actors such as Chris Pratt, Elizabeth Banks, Morgan Freeman, Nick Offerman, Will Ferrell, and a whole slew of others makes this movie so funny to watch. And Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who have directed this film, and 22 Jump Street, another hilarious comedy and great sequel that I did not get a chance to review as well, prove that they are just geniuses in Hollywood today. These guys need to stay working in the film industry, and they need to keep making funny movies like this. Everything about this movie is awesome, and as Jeremy Jahns would say, the Lego Movie is worth buying on Blu-ray. Continuing on at number 10 is a small independent film. Whoa, how many independent films have been on this list so far? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, three indie movies so far on this list, and it's one that not too many people have even heard about or even know of its existence, as it is a pretty small, comedic, and charming film that more people should get exposure to. And yes, this is another one I got a free screening out of, but not without going a really far distance, but that's discussed more in my review. But I will say that Laggies is another film of great caliber. And whoa! Another movie this year on my list starring Keira Knightley and Chloe Grace Moretz. This year has been very kind to them. And this film is no different to how both of them are great young actresses working in Hollywood today, with Keira Knightley playing a woman child who just needs to grow up, but does so with such great talent. Chloe Grace Moretz plays a teenager who is also trying to grow up as well, but is just stuck in the back lagging around, as the movie's title suggests. And Sam Rockwell. Oh man, this guy is just so underrated today. And I feel that not only is he really funny in this movie as well, but he should get more work too. The writing in this movie is just so smart and snappy. The comedy is looming throughout this film. It makes it all the more entertaining and relatable. And to immature people like me, it's a smart film that I can enjoy for years and years and years. And I think it's also timeless and relatable to more people than just this guy. I loved Laggies. At number 9 is one of the few sequels I do have on this list, but is also a massive blockbuster as well. And it stars a bunch of primates, but they are also really intelligent primates in that sense of those words, as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is my 9th favorite movie of 2014 and a very spectacular sequel. What is there to love about this movie? A lot. It is once again led by the motion capture artist himself, Andy Serkis, who deserves, for sure, a nomination in the Best Supporting Actor category come Oscar season, even though he is by all definition the lead actor of this film. And the rest of the Apes cast, including the other primates and the humans, also do admirable jobs themselves. The action in every scene in this movie is just beautiful to watch, especially the money shot of the tank turret just spinning around while the camera is attached to it. The story is just so heart-wrenching and captivating that elicited yet another emotional response from moi. And all the themes that are just present in this film, from the environment, family, and even morality, make this movie a great sequel in every sense of that word. I love this film. I can't wait till the next installment. And if you haven't seen it already, what are you doing? Go see it right now. After the rest of my list, of course. Marching on at number 8 is another installment to another big old boffo franchise. And it just so happens to be based on comic books and superheroes. And there have been another slew of great superhero movies this year, all coming from Marvel properties. Hey, where are you, DC? Come on, come back next year. But I will say that this movie stood out in my eyes as one of, if not my favorite superhero movie of the year based on these properties. Captain America the Winter Soldier succeeded as a spy espionage political thriller, and Guardians of the Galaxy worked so well as a flashy retro space opera. But as excellent as both movies are, they did not compare to a movie that didn't come from Marvel Studios, but from Fox Studios. X-Men: Days of Future Past is my favorite superhero movie of 2014 and takes the number 8 spot. This was the only movie from 2014 that I saw twice in theaters. And who could blame me, as there are so many things right with this movie, especially for a franchise that is in dire need of another stellar installment. And I think that this movie succeeded on so many levels. The ensemble cast here, the biggest in any X-Men movie thus far, really makes this movie all the more captivating to watch. We have Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Peter Dinklage, Jennifer Lawrence. Oh man, so many others in this movie that I can't even count. Well, I can, I just don't want to say. But the action, in addition to the actors' performances, and the story coming from a sacred storyline in this comic book's history, is all the more convenient and clever in Bryan Singer's return to this franchise. I really hope he is involved in this next installment, X-Men Apocalypse, and I just love this movie, my favorite superhero movie of the year once again, and I just think everyone should see it. At number 7 is a movie that nobody saw. No one saw this movie. Okay, that's just an exaggeration, as the box office returns for this film were supple, but not enough. This should have had blockbuster written all over it, especially for a concept like this in a sci-fi film, no less, and its two leads who are just all around exhilarating in these roles, as Edge of Tomorrow is a very underrated film. Underrated, is that the right word? Well, it did get good reviews, but once again, no one saw this movie. The concept alone of living, dying, and repeating, which for some reason replaced the original title of this movie, which is really stupid. Anyway, but the concept of Tom Cruise going and living, dying, and repeating over and over again to fight a war against a really cool alien race. I mean, these are the coolest aliens I've seen in any movie in such a long time. And with Emily Blunt kicking so much ass as a leader of the people who are trying to fight these guys. And I just really think that this movie is all around entertaining. I saw it in IMAX 3D and whoa. This is one of my favorite experiences all year. The concept, the acting, the action, and just everything that encapsulates this movie makes it such an overlooked gem of the year. Everyone should see this movie right now if you haven't already. Continuing on, at number 6 is a movie that I wasn't too excited for it, to be honest, in the beginning, as I barely saw a trailer for it a week before it was released. But then again, it was coming from a very well-respected director, and the concept did look mildly interesting for its start. But man, oh man, was I surprised with Gone Girl. Mysterious, enthralling, insane, and shocking, all from beginning to end. David Fincher has knocked it out of the park once again with another thriller, with another plot that I am glad that I had no idea what to expect coming from its original source material, as I have never read it, but it makes for a really engaging experience. Ben Affleck, just as a husband who doesn't know if he is involved with his wife's disappearance, and everyone else in the background of it, including Carrie Coon, Tyler Perry, Kim Dickens, and his missing wife, Rosamund Pike, who deserves not only a Best Actress nomination, but gives a pretty good case for herself for an actual win. Makes this movie all the more creepy and just very vile in its appearance. And any other aesthetic that is just associated with this film makes it all the more entertaining, with the music, the cinematography, and the looming atmosphere all around. Gone Girl is the best mysterious experience I've had all year. Now we have our top 5 of the year. Or should I say, my top 5. As coming in at number 5 is a movie that I saw way late into the game this year. I mean, I saw it way late after its original Halloween release day, and I should have seen it sooner, as Nightcrawler is the latest addition to my list. Jake Gyllenhaal. Whoa, Jake Gyllenhaal. I did not see the actor portraying a guy who films all the news footage and sells it to local stations for money. I saw a character, Lewis Bloom to be exact, as he did lose 30 pounds for this role, but I just didn't see the actor once again. The atmosphere that is just set up in this film, with LA looking as beautiful as always, and I just think the supporting cast, for how small that they contribute to this movie, makes it all the more elevated into a very realistic film. And all the things that make this movie pop really do make it pop. The cinematography, the music, and the final 20 minutes of this film. That is what cinematic dreams are made of, and it is the most nail-biting scenes I've seen all year. Nightcrawler. It's a creepy and all the more gripping thriller that I should have seen sooner. Up next, at number 4, is a movie that I have been looking forward to ever since it was first announced last year, as it does come from a director who I have loads of amount of respect for. And just for its concept and whoever was involved in this project, I knew I was in. But how was it? Well, of course, since it is on my list, I will have to say that Interstellar is a movie of the ages and of this generation. This was my most anticipated movie of 2014, and it did not disappoint from my favorite director, Christopher Nolan. Just about everything about this flick makes it my favorite experience of this year. Gloriously beautiful cinematography, especially when seen in IMAX. It makes space and a desolate Earth all the more beautiful in its shots. The intellectually graspable plot that whoever becomes engaged with this film, it will resonate with them for a very long time, such as I have experienced throughout. And the emotionally effective performances. Matthew McConaughey, Michael Caine, Jessica Chastain, Anne Hathaway, all of the cast members here deliver performances that are icings on their already wonderful careers in Hollywood today. I just think that this movie was just a very beautiful experience. It was just so much eye candy and so much substance. I think that this is among Nolan's finest. He has yet to make a bad film, in my opinion, and this is my 4th favorite movie of 2014. Now we have the top 3. Now, what makes them so special? Well, if you've been following my videos for a while, these are actually the only 3 movies that I've given my perfect score of 5 out of 5 stars. But which order will I put them in? Well, if you have seen my videos once again, you know what films they are. But it's all up to what I do think thus far into the year, as coming in at number 3 is a movie that I knew I wanted to see from the very start, from the first trailer I saw. It looked like an experience that was just as action-filled as any sci-fi drama or any cheesy action thriller I have seen all year. But it's all centered around music. And it's even named after a Metallica song, which is awesome. Well, technically a Hank Levy song in this movie, but you get my drift. Whiplash is a movie that is just as intense as any war picture. And it's another independent film. I know I love independent films by now, but the 2 lead performances here. Miles Teller as a drummer who is striving to be the best he can be, and J.K. Simmons. Man, he deserves Best Supporting Actor all the more now, ever since I saw his performance. Him as a vile, cruel, and just foul-mouthed teacher that no one in their right mind should ever have is one of the more memorable characters from this year. And the music and the cinematography, especially towards the last 10 minutes of this film. This movie never stops. It is the best ending, I think, in any movie this year, and it's just so satisfying to see everything come together by the end. I love Whiplash. I adore it. I mean, drumming has never looked this intense with this amount, and I mean this amount of blood, sweat, and even tears. Tears of joy to my eyes, as this is an excellent movie. Now, my runner-up for the year. What barely missed the number 1 spot? Well, it is yet another independent film, and it did get my perfect score. And this movie makes me very, very proud to say that I am of Mexican descent, as the director, Alejandro González Iñárritu, is Mexican. And just everything he has assembled with this film makes it all the more eventful, as it is just the funniest movie of the year, even though it isn't a straight comedy. But I will say that with the cast together, I will say Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, is one of the weirdest movies I have ever seen. Weird? Yes, this movie is one of the weirdest I've ever seen. It is so weird as hell that I just love it for that reason alone. Long, beautiful takes. This movie was supposed to be made as if it was shot in one take, and it is so seamlessly implemented throughout this film that it was always on. I was always interested in what was happening with Regan Thompson, and the thumping drumming score that is accompanied with this film from Antonio Sanchez makes it all the more engaging to watch, and it is so damn hilarious. This is the funniest movie I have seen all year, and I just really think that it will go down as a modern classic for being this weird. But above all, we have this ensemble cast. My favorite cast of the year. We got Zach Galifianakis, Emma Stone, Andrea Riseborough, Naomi Watts, Edward Norton, and at the top of his game in such a long time, the almighty Michael Keaton as Regan Thompson. He deserves Best Actor at the Oscars this year. And I just think that this is the best performance he has ever given in his life, and it is all the more deserving for his very illustrious career. I think everything else about this movie is just great. The writing also deserves an Oscar. The cinematography, I mean, everything about it. The concept of an actor trying to be relevant again, but can't get the past out of his head. I just adore this movie. This is Iñárritu's best film by far, and I just think that it is going to be one for the ages in the independent film genre. I adore this movie. Finally, we have my favorite movie of 2014. Now, it's not going to be surprising as it has been in just about every other critic's favorite films or best of lists of the year, and it's not anywhere near the top for some, but for many it is. But I will be lying if I said that I didn't agree with what the critics are saying, as once I did walk out of the theater from this film, I said the first thing I said when I walked out of it, masterpiece. It is going to win Best Picture in my eyes. Just about everything about it makes it so great, and Boyhood is that kind of movie. I shouldn't be saying this as I haven't had a very long life yet, nor have I seen every movie that has ever come out of Hollywood, but this is another independent film, and this is just about the best kind of independent film anyone can ever come across. Filming for over 12 years just to make one movie that is about 3 hours in length makes it all the more amazing to see how much the filmmaking aspect of a film makes it all the more engaging to watch. We got the acting, which started back in 2002 but wrapped up last year in 2013, from Patricia Arquette, who deserves Best Supporting Actress for this movie, no doubt, Ethan Hawke, Lordley Linklater, the director's daughter, and Eller Coltrane, who is by far the breakout star of this film, as he started this movie at 6 years old and ended at 18 last year. And I just think that this movie about nothing really, it's just about a family growing up along with this kid being the main focus, just makes this film one of its kind. Richard Linklater has done many great films before this, but this is by far his magnum opus. I adore this film. Even that statement is an understatement. Boyhood is, once again, my favorite movie of 2014, and I will leave it off with this. Watching someone grow up for 3 hours has never looked so magical. Boyhood, my #1 movie of 2014. And that's a wrap. Those were my top 14 favorite movies of 2014. Many of these films were just so inspirational towards me, and I just cannot wait to see what 2015 has to offer. I can very well say that this has been a solid year for movies, and I just look forward to anything else that is coming in the near future. I have links to all of my formal reviews for the movies I have mentioned on this list in the description, and I hope you all have a happy new year. I just enjoyed so many things this year. I enjoyed commenting on what you guys thought of movies. I've enjoyed reading your comments of what you thought of my opinion towards films, and I just cannot wait for the future once again. I just think that this is a great time to talk about movies, and I just enjoy doing this because I love you all. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment your favorite movies of 2014, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review in 2015.